Good morning. Today I want to introduce you to one of my favorite things to do. It's called faith art. And faith art is essentially a way to worship. It's a way to spend time with the Lord, spend time in His Word, doing something that you love to do. I love to draw and to paint and to color, and I wouldn't say I'm fabulous at it, but I am getting better the more I do it. But it's just a relaxing way for me to concentrate on one or two scriptures at a time. I usually have worship music in the background. If you hear background noise right now, it's my granddaughter watching a B movie. That's what it's called, B movie. It's adorable. But normally I would have worship music on. So being in quarantine, maybe you're willing to try something new. Let me tell you about some of the things that you need if you want to try any of these. This is my art Bible. So it is an old Bible. I actually bought it for $1 at the Goodwill store. And it is not my study Bible. My study Bibles are they're more expensive. They're things that I study out of and so forth. But this is my art Bible, and in its pages I have created with paint and markers and stickers pieces of art. I use that term loosely. So here's a page from Genesis, and another page from Genesis. You can guess that story is Noah's story. I skipped some pages in here. Here's some pages from the story of creation and the Tower of Babel. This is all just paint and stickers and tape. It's really nothing difficult. So I want to walk you through a couple of exercises, and if you want to try them, you can try them with me, okay? We're currently studying in the book of Philippians, so I'm going to go to my Philippians section. So this is the first page I did, and this is watercolor paint. And the thing that keeps the paint, if you look on the back side, oh well, you can't look on the back side of this because that's a page from Ephesians, but what to keep the paint from bleeding through on the other pages, you need this product. It's called gesso. And it's basically a sealer that you put on the page so that the ink doesn't, or the ink or paint or things don't seep through to the other side. You can still do this without the gesso. You just will have some bleed through on the back side. So that's what that does. So what I did on here is I applied the gesso, and then on the top of the page I just painted with watercolor paint. This is purple. And the watercolor paints are, these are not like fancy watercolor, these are the dollar store watercolor paints, honestly, that's what they are. Just in the kids' craft section. So nothing fancy. And then I just painted purple, and I painted a little heavier on the top and lightened up at the bottom. And then I introduced a blue watercolor, a little heavier on the top and then a little lighter on the bottom, just to kind of give a color fade. And then after that dried, I used a piece, I painted, which is an off-white, just one little streak of paint across the top. And then with a permanent marker, a Sharpie real thin, I wrote heavens. And then with stickers, I put in joy, heaven's joy. And that's what the book of Philippians is often referred to as heaven's joy, because the whole book is about how to be happy. And it's an awesome book to read. And it was a great book to contemplate while I was working. And then these pieces here are just stickers, just stuck right on top. And to be honest with you, this big square sticker is covering up something I made underneath there that I didn't like how it turned out, so I slapped a sticker on top of it. So on this page, what I did is something separate. So it's called a tip-in. There are terms for this stuff. And what I did is I took a plain white piece of paper, and I used a stamp, and I have these kind of stamps So again, you don't have to be artistic to do this. So these are stamps. And if you look at this, I'll take a stamp off. Here's the stamp of the bird. See him? I just stamped it right on, stamped them on my paper. Stamped them on there, and then pulled the stamp up, and then you get something to color in. And this is colored with colored pencils. So I wrote, joy is having one spirit and one mind, and that's the theme of Philippians 2:2. So I did that, and then I used something called washi tape, which is, it's a tape that doesn't stick really tightly. It'll hold things in place, but you can peel it off if you don't like it or you want to move it. So I'll take some washi tape, and I'm going to attach it to the top of the paper that I drew here, like that. And then I'm going to tape it right here on the top of the page. Try to get it straight while I'm upside down. And now I have the second page done. So this is another way you can add to your Bible. If you don't want to paint straight in the pages, you can do separate pages and then put them in as tip-ins. And then you can lift it and you can still see the words underneath. But remember, this is not your study Bible. So you know, like I can't read the words under there. It's your art Bible. So I want to do another page with you today and show you something. So again, following our study of Philippians, this page is coated with 2 coats of the gesso, and that was more than I really needed because I'm just going to use I'm going to go light on here and do an abstract watercolor thing to show you how easy it is even if you have no artistic skill. So the verse is Philippians 4:6. No, I'm sorry, it is not 4:6. It is 4:8. Oh my gosh, and I don't have my glasses with me. So, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. I love this verse. You've heard me say it before. This is your filter. This is your filter verse. If you're not sure if you should do it or say it or follow up with it or whatever, filter it through this verse. And if it fits with this verse, if it is good and kind and lovely, then yeah, go ahead and go for it. Okay? So, I'm going to show you the page. Let's see if I can tip this. I think it's good. Okay, so I'm taking my kids' watercolor paints. You can see they're almost used up. I have buckets of these, but anyway, I try to use them all before I open the next one. And, whoops, also at the dollar store, a pack of baby wipes. Now wait, I promise, not difficult. Okay, so take your baby wipe and ball it up and stick it in a color that you like. I'm going to start with some red. And I'm sticking it in the red. And get some red on my baby wipe. And look, I'm just going to tap and dab on the page. The wetter the baby wipe, the more paint it'll pick up. And I'm just kind of going all around the page. I don't have a brilliant idea of what this is going to look like. I'm mostly just trying to bring some color and attention to the page. I've outlined the verse already. I highlighted it with a highlighter. And now I've put some red on the page. And let me show you what that looks like so far. Don't look like anything yet. We're just starting. All right. Now I want to add, I think what I'm just going to add a little bit more in over here. It's hard not to get it on the other page. It's a good idea to protect the other page so you don't end up with colors that you don't want on the other page. Okay, so now I think that's good. Now I'm going to get another white because I might need that red one again. You can use the same one if you want, but I'm going to pick a different color to put in there, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go with orange because what I'm wanting to do is just add some color to the page. Okay, so I'm going to ball my baby wipe up, and this time I'm sticking it in the orange paint. Kind of looks like that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just dabbing on the page. Dab, 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 dab. Page is starting to get a little bit wet. It'll kind of curl up because it's getting wet. That's all okay. It's good. Doesn't matter. It'll dry. And then I always, after I'm done with a page, I put a piece of wax paper between after it's dry, put a piece of wax paper on there, and then I shut the book and I put some heavy books on top of it just to flatten out all of the bumps and lumps and wrinkles that got on there from being wet. You know what I mean. Okay. So again, normally I'm thinking about my verse. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, what is admirable. Think about those things. So I've got that in my mind while I'm working, and I normally have worship music playing in the background, and sometimes just the worship music alone while I'm kind of creating just really sparks my creativity and spirit. Okay, so now it's red and orange. The verse is highlighted in yellow. Okay, and let that dry on there just a little bit. And the last color I am going to add is some yellow to it. So I've got red, orange, and yellow on this page. You do your favorite colors. Do blue, green, and purple. Do whatever you like. You don't have, I'm using red, orange, and yellow on this page because I've done a lot of pink and green and yellow and purple, and I mean all those other colors. Anyway, I haven't done a whole bunch with these colors now. I must have used a lot of yellow for something because there's hardly any left in here. But here's the yellow. Hi, Miss Kinsley. All right, so I'm going to add some yellow to the page now, and I'm just doing the same thing over and over, just tapping over and over to bring color onto the page. Oh, boy. So I hope that you found some time. I hear a lot of people saying they have gobs of time. I don't have gobs of time. I've had trouble finding any free time to do things that I love to do. So hopefully you are finding rhythms and routines that are working for you. I'm still working on that. Doing this makes me so happy. I'm so excited to finally be able to do a little bit of art, faith art, and just kind of, I'm doing a lot of stuff that I don't normally do, so it's taken up a lot of time from the stuff that I'd love to do, but it'll all be good. It's all temporary. And how we use our time, we talked about this at one point, being stewards of time is something that's always been really important to me. It's been a little more challenging lately, but stewards of time, you know, our resources are limited. We only have so much time, so much money. How we use that time, it really does matter. Okay, so I really like this page now. And I am going to hit it with a dryer. So I have this. This is a craft dryer. And the only difference between this and the blow dryer is that it's quiet. So I should be able to keep talking to you after I plug it in while it runs. And you don't need to dry this. You can always walk away from it and then just come back to it later. So I don't think I need any of those again. So I'm just going to dry this so that I can keep going and talk to you. So I think what I want to do next, hey, I need, oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. I was hoping I had everything close by, but, so I'm drawing this page so you can see how the colors turned out and that I can keep going. What I'm gonna do next is add a stamp on this page, and the one that I think I want some flower stamps. So I've got some stamps that look like flowers, like this. Might be pretty on here. Kind of like that one, or there's another one. It's like this. Maybe that one on there. And then that's pretty, and the butterfly, I might use those. Might be too much though. Let's see. So the stamps can be a little bit pricey. Like a stamp set like this, it's usually like 10 bucks. But I go to places like Tuesday Morning and get them cheap because, or on clearance. We live on one income, so I really am steward again of our money. I try not to waste, and I try to make my choices about what to buy or not buy carefully, to respect my husband and how hard he works to support both of us and the farm. All right, this is feeling pretty dry now. Yeah, feels good. I think it's dry enough to take a stamp. And so that's what I'm gonna do next. All right, let me show you. So this is an ink pad that is permanent ink. So if you're buying stuff new, I always try to buy the stuff that does not say washable. I buy the waterproof or permanent because if I really like the page, I'll put Mod Podge on top just to seal it really well. And if you use a Mod Podge on top of something that's not permanent, it would all smear. Like the water in the Mod Podge would run. So, okay, so let me show you. Like, for example, this page was from Ephesians, and it's watercolor background. And then these are this is a swipe of white acrylic paint on top of the watercolor, just one swipe across. And then this is a Sharpie pen on top of it. And then after it was all done, I kind of liked the page. I thought it looked good, so I put a coat of Mod Podge on top just to seal it. You don't have to do that at all. You can skip that step, and if you use any kind of washable stuff, then I would definitely skip that step. But because I used all permanent stuff, it just held the color. And on this page, this is one of those tip-ins. And this is, I just wrote it with marker, and then I colored it in with color pencil. So, and also if you look, I decided that the pages next to each other should be sort of the same color. I like that. I think it looks better like that, but you don't always have to do. You do whatever you want. It's your book. Do just how you want. So, okay, so we're ready for a stamp on our Philippians page. Here's the color when it's dry. Okay. So I open my ink pen. Well, let me get the stamp ready first. So I'll show you how these work. Still trying to decide if I want that one or this one. I think those, I'll go ahead and use these. This is a little busier than I usually like, but I think it'll look good. All right, so the way this works, if you have this kind of stamp, where did I put that block? Oh, good night. So this is an acrylic block, and these stamps you peel off of the page, and you reuse these. They're very soft plastic. They're vinyl, or I don't know what the material is, but they're soft and they're bendy. And you put the sticky side down on the vinyl, on the acrylic block like this. So now my stamp is stuck on there. The nice thing about using these is that they are, you can see through the block, so you can place these easily. So now you just kind of get the ink on it. Press it into the ink. Make sure you get good ink. Sometimes I like to press it on a piece of paper first to make sure I'm making a good print. Yeah, that looks good. Now I'm gonna put it on that Bible page. Okay, ready? And put it right there. And press it down. And pull up. Oh, it's not a perfect print. Oh, I hate to show you a bad one at first, but anyway, it's okay, because now I can show you how we make that look better as we fill in. So let me show you what happened. I didn't press hard enough over here, but that's okay, because I was planning on filling in. You can fill this in with colored pencils, or with paint, or with anything else. Here, let me show you this. Shoot, I can't turn it around. Okay, let me see if I can do it this way. Here's okay, see on my table? This was my practice one, and my practice one actually looked better than the one that came out in my Bible, but I'm not upset because, first of all, because it's the process that you want to be enjoying, not the perfect outcome. Always enjoy the process. And I also know I can fix that, so I'm not worried about it. So what I'm deciding now is if I want to color that in with colored pencils or with a little bit of acrylic paint. And I think I'm actually going to do a little bit of both. I think I'm going to use colored pencils on the petals and maybe the acrylic paint on the middle part, but okay. So this is 22 minutes long, and I think it's probably too long to do a lot more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to take this page, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my markers out, my colored pencils out, and my other paints, and I'm going to finish filling in the flower. I'm going to add a butterfly stamp up here and fill that in, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. All right, so I'll see you in about a half an hour.